Express on mainland 98.3 FM from 5 a.m. to 11 a.m. as we invoke the thought-provoking discussion, tackle the tough questions, challenge assumption, and give a voice to the unheard. This is the Morning Express on mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome on board the Morning Express.
Good morning.
It's the start of a new day and we are excited to have you on radio as other days. Welcome to Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. I am Sage Babalola. This is Trends in the Papers, the midweek edition. It's Wednesday, the 10th of September 2025, and as we have been announcing since the start of the month, we are counting down to the 4th year celebration of Mainland 98.3 FM. We're going to be 4 years in another, say, 30 days. And we are looking forward to celebrating with you. 20 days, actually. And we're looking forward to celebrating with you. We have a lot of things lined up for you. And we will continue to announce it. So at least everyone can get something. You will get more details as we progress into the month or the week, the specific things that you need to do, what you need to do on social media to win yourself airtime. There's also going to be an opportunity for you to spend time with your favorite presenter. So if there's a presenter on this platform that you love, that you want to meet in person, you want to spend time with them, we've made provisions for that. So throughout the course of the week, from the 25th of September, we will play a football match. You get details for that as well. There's also going to be a roundtable discussion. You get more details, as I mentioned earlier, and there's also provisions for you to come into the studio. You're going to be here live. If you're a fan of sports cruise, you'll be with ᴑᴜᴜ and of course Agbatomi. If you're a fan of the Buzz, you're going to be here chilling with the superstars. If you're a fan of the Scoop, you'll be with Daisy, Tomiwa, and of course T across other programs. If you're a fan of Trends in the Papers, you'll be with me and I hope you don't beat me up, and you be with Wild-Side and of course Lady Mo, but I'll definitely love to meet all of you. But that said, let's focus on the primary discuss of the morning. Again, it's Trends in the Papers on Milan 98.3 FM. This is where we dissect our dailies. We look at the stories that are trending across different platforms as further, and then we progress into the segment of the Morning Express that is all about taking your own feedback on the analysis and the stories that have been provided. We oftentimes review the Punch, the Guardian, and the Vanguard newspaper, or at least as many stories as time would permit. We're live on social media, so do well to join us there. Facebook and YouTube especially, because that's where we stream the majority of our program. So even if you're not able to listen in real time, maybe you're busy, you're in traffic, or whatever the case may be, at your convenience, you can always go to those platforms and rewatch the program. And the beautiful thing is you can still interact with people because people comment and react in real time. So even after you see it, you can go and interact with people in the comment section. That's the beauty. Or check our website at www.mainlandfm.com. Straight into the report for the day. Outside, good morning to you. I hope you had a splendid night.
Yeah, good morning, Sage. Yeah.
You probably would not experience it for outside because, I mean,
How do you know?
You own a plane, so you don't. Traffic congestion does not have anything.
I understand that.
People like us and be struggling on flooded streets. But the floods is actually try to dredge a lot of gutters because the Agege area that I complain about a lot because I go through there most times. I did see men working, and with the vest they were wearing, and I could tell that they were government workers. They were dredging, and they cleared it immediately, as opposed to when they take out these rubbish from the gutters and put it on the roadside and it just goes right back in. They packed it immediately. So I mean, I should commend them because they're doing the best they can. So the flood situation is not as horrific as we are accustomed to. It's starting to ease a little bit, but outside, not just in Nigeria, across the world. There's the now suspended Nupeng strike, which we will talk about. There's the protest. Doctors are saying they're going to go on strike. Dino Melaye is back. Like nothing has changed really, and he has been dragging the government at every opportunity. He's an actor. He should just do Nollywood. Honestly, I need to purchase a helicopter. Then there's Israel bombing Qatar. And there's Russia just laughing at the Oval Office. And there's and there's Nepal Prime Minister resigning because of protests and on a social media ban. And then there's the Super Eagles that decided to draw 1-1. Bro, see, well,
I agree with you now.
I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm like, Agbára Ọlọ́run jọba for one side. I just want to say, my heart goes out to journalists across the country and across the world at this time. It's not fun, but we'll do what we're supposed to do. Let's actually start with the Nupeng situation, since that was one of the most Tuesday. Following a meeting with the Oval Office of the federal government and the Oval Office officials of the federal government and the Dangote Group amid fuel supply disruption in different locations across the country. Now, the national president of Nupeng, Williams Akbureha, holders in attendance. So, Fuad, at this time, the reports are saying that there's been some resolution. Yes, Dangote has agreed to unionize its work progress, as there's been agreement that fine, we can unionize the workers. If Dangote is a smart businessman, I would like to think that there would be some clauses that.
Well, pleased because again, a needless industrial action has been averted. Because that was going to bring untold hardship, unreasonable hardship, avoidable hardship to Nigerians. So whatever was done, the intervention of the federal government, I think, was timely. And I think whatever resolution that has been achieved makes a lot of sense to me. I've seen through the memorandum of understanding that has been signed by both parties.
Okay.
And there was really nothing. It was just a 2-page memorandum of understanding, basically detailing out the fact that Dangote has now agreed to unionize these tanker drivers of his new trucks. And basically, that's just the agreement. And I think that will be done over a 2-week period. That will now be supervised by the Federal Ministry of Labor. And that's all. And that, the union workers have now decided, have decided to call off their strike or whatever intended strike action they wanted to take. So that's all about the memorandum of understanding. But again, of Dangote now, or an intending employee, prospective employee of the facility, to drive one of the trucks or more of the trucks that will come in. I'm sure there will be parts of your employment conditions that will ask you whether you are, because again, it's still subject to whether you want to be a part of the union facility. It is still within the rights of the drivers to either join the union or not. So if you are an employee, for example, a prospective employee, say, and then what would you say?
For you choose survival over unionism. Survival versus unionism.
Your family members will ask you, when you go there to become a union member, you went there to work and make money. So, but again, I think for the Nupeng guys, and I think it's nice that Nigerians know that, look, this is not really about the welfare of the workers. From a lot of things that we've heard from members of the Tanker Drivers Association, even some members of the oil and gas workers who have said that, look, these unions are not really about the welfare of members. It has always been about, the interest of a select few who lead these unions. It's a good one for them because at least at the end of the day, what they are looking for, they will get. And you know what they are looking for, say. As simple as the fact that, look, the more members they are able to get from the facility, the more union dues that goes to them. That was why I was telling Edimo yesterday that we have so many unions all around. One of them is the National Union of Road Transport Workers. Benefits anything from that union in terms of welfare, in terms of support, or the advancement of their interest in any form. What we've seen mostly is just a few who run the unions, who live larger than life. You see them at parties with all manner of women, throw parties, throw monies around. You understand what I'm saying? Because the union dues comes in and it comes heavy for them. The question is, are union members actually benefiting anything from being a member of the union? The same question goes to the bank. So we just have to move on with our lives. That has been sorted. Let's go to other issues of nation building.
Indeed. So the consequence of your choice has nothing to do. Like the law says that you can choose to be a member of a union, but the consequence of your choice is your business, really.
In the hands of the employer.
So that's how it is. So I guess it's up to the drivers to make a decision, right? If they want to be part of the union or they want to work for Dangote. But there's been a resolution. NUPENG has called off the strike capacity anymore. So the federal government did a good one with this one. Well, let's move on to other issues here, Fuad side, and we're hoping that we see some sort of resolution on this particular issue as well. Doctors to decide on nationwide strike hold its National Executive Council meeting to determine its next line of action on a pending ultimatum to the federal government. The association had earlier issued a 10-day ultimatum to relevant government agencies, warning that members would embark on a nationwide strike if their demands were not met. The threat comes amid mounting pressure on Nigeria's fragile public health system, which is already grappling with a shortage of doctors, poor infrastructure, and overcrowded hospitals. So Fuad, a 10-day ultimatum was given regarding payments for the residency training that was being owed to these doctors. That the 10 days starting to elapse, and so they're holding a meeting today to decide whether or not they're going to.
Well, the issues on the table are clear. Like you rightly pointed out, I think doctors in Abuja are already on strike, the resident doctors there. And that's why, again, there's a second look, almost like a second, third look at the performance of the Minister of the FCT. Beyond the commissioning of running the FCT is not just about, bogus contracts on projects, roads, innovation of conference center with ridiculous amounts and what have you. That's not supposed to be all you do as FCT. Remember that before now there'll be a story of even teachers, primary school teachers embarking on the strike because they have in Abuja use those medical facilities in the FCT. They will not allow these doctors go on strike under any excuse or guise. If their lives and their own health depends on those facilities, would they allow the doctors to go on strike?
I doubt that.
So they won't. They would not. It's because they don't use those facilities. Even if they have to patronize Nigerian hospitals, they know the best in the FCT that use these facilities. And that's why you see that sometimes you have doctors, nurses, midwives, all threatening to go on strike. And you see the laid-back attitude of our politicians to some of these things because they look at it does not really affect them. They patronize. So, again, on an up to the appeal to the government, they can quickly intervene to avert this strike. Again, if you go to our hospitals and understand what Nigerians are going through, this is probably going to compound their woes. It's already a woeful situation for them.
Yeah.
It is woeful if in Nigeria today, you are confined to use it means that there's a problem with you already. So now having the doctors who are already overstretched, overworked, poorly remunerated, going on strike again and abandoning duty and leaving the people to their fate means double, triple jeopardy for poor Nigeria. And that's why we need the Minister of Health now. That's
a leap party. Yeah.
It's still, he has a very rich, he can't continue to have this kind of crisis. And that's why the Minister of Labour too has to probably come in. Let's have a strong federal government delegation to really look into this matter and apart this strike. It's going to be, I keep insisting, it is not about them now, it's about you.
Fuad, I don't know if you saw the River State story. That doctor, I think his name was Rotimi in River State, who he slumped after 72-hour shift. He was on call for 72 hours and he just slumped and he died.
That would be the problem.
Yeah, you shouldn't be. 12 hours at least.
Okay, and then do you know the number of patients should have attended to, cases should have attended to? Because again, a lot of the doctors are out of the country. We tend to live in denial about some of these things. A lot of our medical students now, they are in school. The only thing that these young ones are already putting up information about with that Canada, to the UK, to parts of Europe, where their services are needed and we're very regulated. The same thing for doctors. So at the end of the day, we are left with only a few patriotic ones who decide, okay, and those ones who are here too are probably looking for opportunities to continue selling. It's unfortunate, really.
Very, very unfortunate. Let's hope that after they have their meeting today, they talk to the federal government, something is able to be done. I know that it would be unrealistic to expect that all their demands are met today, right? But at least if you start, it will be a sign of good faith, right? They can trust you that if they don't go on that strike, you would attend to all the other things on the list that they have put on the table. Well, we'll give you more information on that meeting before the end of day. This is Trends in the Papers on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sage Babalola, and I'm conversing with Fᴜᴜᴜ, who's providing analysis to these stories. Back to the Punch now. No 5% fuel surcharge included in the recently signed Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, reassuring the public that it is not a new tax and will not be object to dispel any misconceptions regarding the surcharge, which has been subject of public concern. He explained that the 5% surcharge was not a new levy, but a provision first introduced in 2007 under the Federal Road Maintenance Agency Act. And I read that deep into knowing the financial condition of the average person. So the Minister of the Economy had addressed this and said it's not a new tax. This has been since 2007, the FIRMA Act since 2007, but it was not implemented. And the only reason why they're this loud about it is to harmonize it, especially with the new tax bills that were recently signed into law, to harmonize it and to explain why there has to be some sort of order, a commencement order before it starts, and Nigerians will be informed before they start that it's not going to happen immediately. Fᴜᴜᴜ, is this band-aid on a wound, or they might as well just start removing it now?
It should not even happen at all.
Okay.
No, it's not about when it will happen or if it will happen, or that we will be informed. What we are saying that it introduced in 2007, there was still subsidy, right?
Yes.
Subsidy payments were still going on. There was still subsidy on petroleum products and roads, facilities, and what have you. So what we are saying is that it's even in bad faith for them to know what Nigerians are going through as a result of subsidy removal and find an old tax law that you see introduced again. Didn't they see it when they were adding it again to this one? Shouldn't they have sat down the committee? They were taxing hell out of their life. We should not bring this again. So the question I suppose we are asking them, the entire tax committee and the minister that is telling us that it's not an automatic thing. Is that a reasonable decision in light of what Nigerians are going through and decisions they are taking in recent times that have put Nigerians into serious suffering? What? And then you tell us what it will happen. It should not happen. That's what Nigerians are saying. Because that's the reasonable thing to do. It's not about how and when. It is that it should not and must not. In light of what has happened in the last 2 years plus of this government. And that's why we kept probing these things. And you know that most of these humans, you have to go deep, really, to see some of these articles, the things we believe we are now pulling out. And these are the people that will tell you, the whole tax bill is about the poor people. It even pay poor Nigerians more. Not knowing that.
That's the
and the thing is that they keep pushing Nigerians to the wall. That's the unfortunate thing. And the concerns are there. These guys keep pushing Nigerians to the wall. I would think that they are looking at what is happening in Nepal.
Yeah.
But all over again. Paying attention to how some of these things happen.
It was one person.
Just
because of bread.
Getting through these tough times, and what you continue to see government showing the vein to their flag.
Aside, again, they're insisting this is not a bill that they introduced. They're simply implementing. It's been since 2007. All they're doing is implementing. That's their argument.
And say, if subsidy money that they say they are saving, we are up to now. There's even no clarity as to what we are even saving, or not see for sure. Amidst all of that, we have the borrowing cannot fix roads. I can tell them where they can get money to fix roads.
Where?
Around and wasting money up and down. The government should take over all of those kinds of money. Those monies are huge enough to help maintain our roads. In fact, let FEMA take over all of the parks and garages. And let us see whether FEMA will not have enough money, even though the problem will not be that FEMA becomes a problem.
Right. Well, regulating agencies themselves needs to be regulated if we're being honest. But that's a billion naira. Now, 31 states of the Federation are trapped in a domestic debt burden of 2.57 trillion while attracting no foreign capital inflow in the first quarter of 2025, according to findings by The Punch. The latest figures from the national growing reliance on domestic borrowing and federal allocation to finance operations. Within a year, 10 states have increased their debt by 417.71 billion naira as other states paid off their loans. The MBS Capital Importation Report shows that only a handful of states attracted measurable foreign investment in the first quarter of 2025. Might I add that the Federal Capital Territory is actually on top of a list of states that were able to attract as many foreign direct investment as possible. Some states have started paying their... And the problem here is that these states are not even able to generate capital. So it's cap in hand waiting for allocations from the government. That's really all they have.
How can states generate revenue when the government, what it is, a lot of them don't even live in their state? How do you stay back in your state, get your head right, begin to look at opportunities within, That's why most of the states are not viable. Again, during the military era, most of these states were created as a result of, influence and what have you. But consistently, we've seen that, look, most of these states are just mere constructs and structures for people to just review revenue and just sit back and eat the money and do nothing with it practically. And put those and it is able to drag into those states, to be able to bring it to the state. Upon that, the allocations come. There's no meaningful development in these states. The roads are still the same. The only places where you see meaningful development in most of these states is the capital cities. But most of their capital cities are not even better than slums in other communities in other countries of the world. As a capital city, from all intents and purposes, in terms of development rate.
Have you seen their
majestic gates?
Have you seen the majestic gates?
So the gate is what the old city is. Unless somebody wants to correct me, it's just in a cluster from where the government houses are to part of the DRA. But nothing that has happened in terms of urban regeneration in Abeokuta, the capital city of the state. The same for Ibadan, the same for Osogbo, the same for Ado-Ekiti. Somebody was telling me that even in Akure, Ondo State, they have only one pedestrian in the whole capital city. You can ask what you can call urban regeneration of the capital city. So in the capital, there was last time I went to Kwara. If you want to long Kwara into the southwest, because though not central, but it's only in Lorry, and even the same in Lorry, you go there, it's the same thing you see. Nothing has changed practically. Things are just there by nature. Then you move into the north central, move into the northwest. It's the same story all over. So I'm not surprised. And the funny thing is that despite not doing anything, but those ones who are been immersed in this pattern of reckless borrowing are still not able to repay. They don't even have enough revenue to repay some of these things. And so some of them are still trapped, as you see. So that's why we look at governance in Nigeria. You know that, look, as much as they focus on at the federal level, the subnational is also...
They're able to get themselves out of this quagmire. And as I said, there's some states that are slowly paying their debt. Lagos, Kano, the FCT has been able to even bring in foreign direct investment. But there are others who have absolutely no capital, not even domestic capital or FDI, nothing. They're just waiting for allocation. And it's very sad. 31 states are in debt. That's that for that. Let's talk a little bit of politics. The Punch 2027 presidency in the South into two camps, with the stakeholders holding divergent positions on the issue. While some party members believe Jonathan should not contest against President Bola Tinubu, various political pressure groups drum support he takes is what is going to determine how they react to former President Goodluck Jonathan, right, being on the ballot. There's also, of course, the scuffle between Sims Fubara, and all these factors is now influencing whether or not they would support Jonathan. The Edo State chapter of the PDP actually is welcoming the prospect of having Jonathan now of the PDP that want to support or not support Jonathan, I believe, because they're saying that they're waiting for Doye. I don't believe that Wiki, because Wiki has said that if you allow him into the party, you want to destroy the party. Is that not what he said?
I don't you think that in the South the Wiki
that's all I'm here for, just to tell you what the paper says.
That in the South, the most thing, whatever he wants, most likely. Again, I think we just leave this story and see it as a developing story.
All right. I was actually even going to focus on the argument of his eligibility. There's been a lot of...
That's also a factor. That's also one
factor. There's
factor.
also a factor for that as well. If he can be sworn in 3 times,
in court, but it's too risky.
And Festus Keyamo too also raised that concern.
That one should not advise. Should advise his own.
Let's leave on Festus. I'm so sorry for bringing it. Looking at the Punch newspaper, a lot of these stories are replicated across all the other papers. So, we can advocates of Nigeria's protest as Senate blocks Natasha's return. Advocate of Nigeria condemned the Senate's decision to bar Akpoti Uduaghan from resuming when the upper chamber reconvenes on September 23. In a letter dated September 4, the acting clerk to the Nationalist, the Court of Appeal delivers judgment on her suit against the Senate. The matter remains sub judice and onto the judiciary as soon as it is resolved, the letter stated. This is just part. On social media, we'll post the actual communique in its entirety. But for a day, you have it. 6 months suspension, right? The 6 months is supposed to elapse. But because this matter is in the court of law, we have the clerk saying that, well, since this is in court, you cannot resume. We now have to wait for the Court of Appeal to have 6 months suspension has elapsed, and they're asking for what the law actually says on matters like this one.
Faith. While there are lawyers who think that, look, sometimes when you have cases like this, events can overtake them. I'll give you an example. One of the reasons why those cases were, and that's why you see that even in the case of Fubara, you have people saying that, oh, the reason why the Supreme Court, for example, the Fubara case is in court, the suspension of the case is in court. The PDP governors are going to, if he resumes in September 18, as has been said, on that part. I've also seen lawyers who have said that, look, you can't say, oh, it has been sorted out. You know, and then the courts appeal from, and they use all these, their legal assembly. As at the point Natasha was approaching the court, the assembly like this, the court cannot decide for them. If you remember that was one of the arguments of National Assembly.
On her resumption, they're waiting for the decision of the court.
They are waiting for the court. Wow. And when they were going to suspend her, I'm sure you remember.
Wow.
When they said it clearly, the House rules cannot also be in violation of the dictates of the Constitution to decide.
Wow.
So
I'm happy for them. They've grown. We had complained about how it's self-development that don't contempt, don't do contempt, and they're like, okay, fine, we have learned now. So for your resumption, we're going to show people that we're now obeying.
We are now of the 10th Assembly, the Senate particularly. It's setting its own record straight. The history will judge them either way. Because at the end of the day, because I think the attempt, if you notice, the display of shame that we saw, where some people were organized to attempt to recall this person that is so much loved by our people. The battle of Natasha even started from how she won the election, how they went on digging, gutters, stopping her from being able to cast her vote. They waded through all of those struggles to win eventually, and now you have a situation where it is what it is. The world is watching. We are seeing what the leadership of the National Assembly has become. The unfortunate thing is that, look, there are members of the leadership of this Senate today who claim to be true Democrats. For years, they have pretended that they were true Democrats. I will not mention names, but I'm sure people who follow me know the people I'm talking about. And that's why I keep saying, pretended for years, deceiving Nigerians that they are now till tomorrow. Put on his glasses. The ideals that all stood for in terms of the rule of law and democracy, what happened?
Right, indeed. We have less than 3 minutes to exit the studio, so let's just look at the rest of the headlines we have here. There's this very sad story in Anambra Fuad. Brigade operatives arrested over pregnant woman and traders killing. The pregnant woman and 4 others have been arrested. Apparently, they were on some enforcement exercise near the Emeka Ofo Plaza main market on Onitsha on Tuesday. They had an altercation with some of the traders in that market and arrested. But then it scares me, Fuad, what this unofficial security agents are doing now, from stripping women naked and posting the video online to shooting.
Look, we are talking about state police, and the little ones who have been created, just little ones now have been behaving seriously. So because again, it's in the state. How they became people, maybe they brought in regular policemen, I don't know, or they were also Amagune Chamber, what did they call them? Those were the ones that went to
stripping core members, say they are fraudsters.
And they say they were also running after Yahoo boys. So and I think Charles Oludo has called for their arrest.
Yeah.
I think there's something wrong about the operations of all of these security outfits in the state, especially Anambra State. But that's also to tell us that, look, when state police will come, if it eventually comes, it is about more protecting the rights of the people than going out there to violate them.
Well, that's that about that. Also, there was this situation. Was it? Yeah, the security operatives, they opened fire. The soldiers fought back. They did the best they could. The tragedy. Yes, it's very sad what's going on in the north.
In the last 1 month, the list of security operatives are something that should get us really concerned. These guys putting their lives on the line to protect Nigeria. That's why we always call for better welfare state now in Zamfara. You know, the issue of insecurity, we extend our sympathies to the families of these security operatives who have lost their lives, trying to protect them.
And they lose their lives.
Because the markets are no longer safe.
Yeah, so they have to follow. They were even following the traders to the market, right, who were going to sell. So they try to escort them. But, I mean, it's very sad. Well, finally, for us, of course, a lot of things, the global shocks, for example, foreign exchange, as why we continue to see an increase in our rising debt profile. But, well, the federal government doesn't seem as worried about this situation as we are. They seem to think they're doing something in the right direction. For just 30 seconds, if you can, so we round off.
Well, it's what it is. If the DMO, they are the ones managing our debt profile. And if they are also raising concerns, it means that we have to pay attention to these things. The argument of making sense for us as a country. You know, we borrow, we can continue to borrow, nations of the world borrow. But the question is, what are we borrowing for? So far, what do we have on ground to justify the level of borrowing we have? So that window is still wide open for us to borrow more. What are we borrowing for? And for those of us we borrow, what do we have to show for it?
Well, that's it. Oh, Delta / dialysis cost by half. So people who are undergoing dialysis, the Delta.
That means it's commendable. I'm just saying that those dialysis will not be overwhelmed unless unless you show that you are from Delta State or you are a resident of Delta State.
Well, they didn't highlight. Obviously, they will be. They will, because people will jump on this opportunity, and I hope that it doesn't wear them out. But maybe if more state focus on developing their states, we wouldn't need to go across borders to get treatment, right? That's Babalola.